It's another day, it's another dollar, and we're starting our day the right way. It's coffee time. Hello? This is the vibe today. Mac vibes. That's right. Can I get a flat white with a brown sugar and a bottle of water, please? Thank you. You got a tissue? Thank you. Have a good day. Just absolutely dashed myself with the coffee. Let's get started with the day. See if we can get this upstairs without dashing it. Okay. Fuck. So we made it. The coffee has been spilt. The day has begun. So I hope you all have a good day yourselves. Thanks for tuning in for another vlog. Today we've got another container coming. So I know the last vlog was all about stock, buying in stock, etc, etc. Today we've actually got another container. At least one coming, I believe, this afternoon. So I thought I'd pick up the camera again, do another little vlog, and see what nuggets of info and gems I can drop you through the day. I'm now going to clock into a few meetings, check in with clients, check in with the team, plan and have a look at how yesterday went. I always like to look back, like on a 1 day and 3 day viewpoint, just to see over the last day and over the last 3 days what's been going on metric wise within the business, what creatives are working really, really well, what landing pages are working, what offers are working, how much profit have we made. And this month so far we're running at a really, really strong 31% net profit, which is great, great news. So we are going to push on today and I will pick up the camera in a bit. So just been in around 3 or 4 different meetings. It's kind of been back to back, and then a friend of mine came over who I'm trying to help scale up with his business. I've just been figuring out 2 things that are super, super important when scaling your business: your break-even ROAS and your target CPA. Without knowing those 2 kind of metrics, it's really, really tricky to scale, like efficiently and profitably. So we've been working that out. And now I'm going to sit down and do some more work. And just like that, Royal Mail are here on their second collection, collecting more crates. We currently send out around 15, 20 cages a day of my brand's products, all around the UK. And we actually worked out the other day, because we send so kind of north and so south of the country, there's not one Royal Mail truck on the road or one hub that hasn't got one of our orders in there every single day, which is pretty fucking cool. And here we are a couple of hours later. So I've been literally doing flat out work all day today, and I've just been notified that our container isn't coming today, it's been delayed. Something that happens a lot in physical stock brands is delays, and it fucking happens a lot. So we are now assuming delivery tomorrow, and I think we've got another 2 containers coming, so that might double stack up tomorrow as well. But that's kind of half the trouble with scaling in physical stock, is the unreliability of stock. The amount of delays that can come, especially when importing from China, and you've got stuff to consider such as like customs, clearance, etc, etc. There's a lot of moving parts, and we've had delays on today's container, which is not a problem at all, because if you've seen my last video, we are ridiculously overstocked anyway. But it's just a classic example of why sometimes running a stocked brand can be an absolute headache. I wanted to quickly talk about shipping, because it's about time we all start saving money with our shipping. So I'm going to show you exactly how, as a company, we have saved tens and thousands of pounds over the last few months. So when shipping from China, you've got 3 options. You've got, if I draw up here, an aeroplane. Is that an aeroplane? I think so. You've got an aeroplane. You have got, that's a boat. You've got sea. And to finish, you've got, that is a train. Okay? So, to confirm, you can ship in 3 different methods from China when importing and bringing goods into the country. You can ship by air, you can ship by sea, and you can ship by rail. There's pros and cons to all, and I'm going to break them all down now and show you exactly how we've saved so much money this year. Initially, air is one of the easiest and quickest methods of shipment. However, it comes with a price. This is all going to be based on a 40-foot container, which is what we usually bring into the country. So an air 40-foot container, bearing in mind this is always changing due to seasons, etc, etc, it costs around £41,000. So to bring a 40-foot worth of stock in via air is around 41k. The lead time is around 3 days. It's extremely quick, it's usually not hugely delayed, and it's reliable. You're not going to get many planes coming down, you're not going to get many disasters that's going to affect things. The next up, most traditional method, is via sea. Now sea has a huge pro of being extremely, extremely cheap. So you can get C for around 5 to 7k for the same 40 foot, which costs 40k by air. The problem with C is it can take anywhere from around 35 to 45 days. And you also need to take that with a pinch of salt, because we've had huge delays via sea before. When stuff happens around the world and there's sort of delays, and there was that stuff that happened in the Red Sea or whatever it was the other day. I mean, we got huge delays. So sea is super cheap, super efficient on a cost perspective, but super risky. And when you're trying to scale fast, dealing with this is a fucking headache. So this is where we've come in, and this is where we've saved a lot of money this year. Moving to rail. The way that rail works, it is around kind of 20 days. So it's around 20 days, half the length of sea, and it costs around 15 to 17k. Again, fluctuating and changing depending on the season and what's going on in the world. It means that it's kind of a middle between sea and air, but a much closer price to sea than it is to air. 20 days when you're working from like an e-commerce perspective is a lot easier to manage instead of 45, and the cost, although much larger than the 5, is much, much less than the 40. What they do is they rail it to Germany or something like that, and then they truck it from Germany to the UK. Loving the drawings. So that is a truck. They truck it from Germany to the UK, and then it gets offboarded here at the warehouse. This is what I'd recommend to anyone within e-commerce if you're trying to scale. If you are in a business where you are prepared, you're bringing stock in much further in advance, C is always going to help your margins the most. However, for a company like mine that has scaled really, really, really quickly, rail is saving the day. We did air for a lot, and we spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on air when we were scaling really, really hard a few months ago, because we just couldn't wait for the stock. We couldn't afford 20 days orders of packing up too quickly. However, now going forward, rail is the sweet spot. What we tend to do is a rail container every week, and we're cutting C in the background as well, so that we've got a consistent flow of rail, and then C in the background giving us a little boost of profits in terms of a lower COGS going into the future. Hopefully this little demonstration is going to save you some cash this year with your e-commerce business and allow you to scale more profitably with less headaches. Use rail, and if you need a freight forwarder, shout me on DM, because I can help. I've got some really good guys that I work with. The container hasn't arrived, so they're now pulling in the pallets that we put to hold the spot for the container, and it is absolutely tipping it down. Go on, Finn, lad! He's not happy. Bless him. I mean, he's always happy. He's one of those blokes. He's cracking on. When it comes to e-commerce especially, it's so important to look at the really clear metrics that are there in place, and they need to be correct. Stuff like your average order value, stuff like your lifetime value. I've just jumped out of a couple calls, and it's paramount nowadays especially that we get these numbers all working really, really well. We get the average order value as high as possible. We get the lifetime value boosted up to the max. With e-com nowadays, it's getting more and more expensive to make that sale. CPAs are up. The game is tricky. The game is busy. And because of that, we need to make sure that our average order values and our lifetime values are as boosted as possible. So please, 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 when you're putting your brand together, whether it's figuring out your product, whether it's figuring out your angle or your offering, make sure that you're really focusing on average order value, make sure you're focusing on lifetime value. If you get those things in the right position, you can scale quite hard through paid advertising. But with a really low average order value, with rising CPAs in a difficult game at the moment, it's really, really tricky to compete. And I've just jumped out of a few calls where that's been made really clear, and we've had to make some quite decisive decisions within their brands to make changes to make sure that it works statistically. So I thought I'd just quickly jump on here, reiterate the importance of knowing your numbers, number one, but also making sure your numbers are really, really strong. Without that, you're going to really struggle in today's market. Building a brand is going to become a lot trickier for you. Get the numbers looking good, build a brand that looks good, create a really clear offering and angle, and you can push it super, super far. Yeah, hopefully that little breakdown of numbers earlier when I'm talking about shipping and saving you some cash. I know that there's a lot of people that watch this that are just drop shipping, but there's also a lot of people watching this that run brands, and I've received a lot of DMs saying that people have moved into rail, people are saving money and getting a better service. So hopefully that video provided some insight and guidance, and it's going to help you as a business work more efficiently, work more effectively, and run more profitably. If you want some more insight, if you want some more info and you want some more help, my DMs are always open. They're busy, but they're always open. I'll catch you on the next video.